IELTS Academic Reading Practice Test 1. Daily English Listening Channel. Instructions. You have 60 minutes to complete all 40 questions. There are 3 passages. Read each passage carefully before answering. Write your answers in the comments section below the video. Answers will be revealed in a pinned comment after 24 hours. Passage 1. Questions 1 through 13. The rise of urban farming. A. Urban farming, the practice of growing food within or around cities, has transformed from a niche hobby into a significant movement reshaping how modern societies think about food, land use, and sustainability. From rooftop gardens in New York to vertical farms in Singapore, cities across the world are increasingly embracing food production as an urban activity. This shift is driven by a confluence of factors: rising food prices, environmental concerns, rapid urbanization, and a growing public interest in knowing where food comes from. B. The concept of urban agriculture is not as new as many assume. During the First and Second World Wars, civilians in the United Kingdom were encouraged to grow food in public parks, private gardens, and even on railway embankments as part of the Dig for Victory campaign. Similarly, victory gardens flourished across the United States and Canada during wartime rationing. What is different today is the scale, the technology, and the motivation. Modern urban farming is less about wartime necessity and more about environmental responsibility, community engagement, and economic resilience. C. Vertical farming represents one of the most technologically advanced forms of urban agriculture. In these facilities, crops are grown in stacked layers inside climate-controlled buildings using artificial lighting and hydroponic or aeroponic systems that deliver nutrients directly to plant roots without soil. Proponents argue that vertical farms can produce significantly more food per square meter than traditional farming, use up to 95% less water, and eliminate the need for pesticides. Critics, however, point to the high energy consumption of artificial lighting as a major drawback, noting that unless powered by renewable sources, vertical farms may actually have a larger carbon footprint than conventional agriculture. D. Community gardens, a more accessible form of urban farming, operate on a different model. These shared spaces, often located on unused public land, bring together residents to collectively grow vegetables, herbs, and fruits. Beyond their practical output of food, community gardens have been associated with a range of social benefits. Studies have found that participation in community gardening is linked to improved mental health outcomes, stronger neighborhood cohesion, and increased physical activity. In some cities, local governments actively fund and support community gardens as part of broader urban greening and public health strategies. E. Food security is another compelling argument in favor of urban farming. Cities are inherently vulnerable in their food supply chains. Most urban areas depend on food transported from hundreds or thousands of kilometers away. Disruptions, whether due to extreme weather, geopolitical tensions, or pandemics, can rapidly expose this vulnerability. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, highlighted the fragility of global food supply chains when lockdowns and border closures led to shortages of certain goods in supermarkets worldwide. Urban farms, even modest ones, can contribute to a degree of local food self-sufficiency and act as a buffer against such disruptions. F. Despite its promise, urban farming faces considerable challenges. Land in cities is expensive and scarce, making it difficult to establish farms at a meaningful scale. Zoning laws and building regulations may restrict or complicate agricultural activities in urban zones. Furthermore, urban soil is frequently contaminated with heavy metals and other pollutants from decades of industrial activity, requiring expensive remediation before it can be safely used for food production. These barriers mean that urban farming, at least in its ground-level form, is often more viable in lower-income cities or in areas with significant amounts of vacant land. G. Looking ahead, many urban planners and agricultural researchers believe that urban farming will play an increasingly important role in sustainable city design. New developments increasingly incorporate green roofs, living walls, and designated growing spaces into their architectural plans. Some visionaries even imagine cities of the future where food production is seamlessly integrated into the urban fabric, where schools grow their own vegetables, office buildings host bee colonies on their rooftops, and apartment complexes maintain shared herb gardens. Whether or not this vision is fully realized, it is clear that the relationship between cities and food production is undergoing a fundamental transformation. Questions 1 through 5. The passage has 7 paragraphs labeled A through G. Choose the correct heading for each paragraph from the list below. List of headings. I. A long history of growing food in wartime. 2. The social benefits of shared growing spaces. 3. The limits and obstacles facing city agriculture. 4. Technology-driven indoor food production. 5. Food supply vulnerabilities in urban areas. 6. The future integration of farming into city life. 7. Drivers behind the modern urban farming movement. 8. The economic cost of urban land. 1. Paragraph A. 2. Paragraph B. 3. Paragraph C. 4. Paragraph D. 5. Paragraph E. Questions 6 through 9. Do the following statements agree with the information in the passage? Write true, false, or not given. True if the statement agrees with the information. False if the statement contradicts the information. Not given if there is no information on this. 6. Vertical farms always have a smaller environmental impact than traditional farms. 7. Community gardens have been linked to improvements in residents' mental well-being. 8. The COVID-19 pandemic caused permanent damage to global food supply chains. 9. Urban soil contamination can make ground-level farming unsafe without treatment. Questions 10 through 13. Complete the sentences below. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. 10. During the Second World War, the UK's Dig for Victory campaign encouraged people to grow food on railway embankments. 11. Hydroponic systems deliver nutrients to plants without using. 12. Some city governments fund community gardens as part of wider urban greening and. 13. New building projects increasingly include green roofs, living walls, and designated